Assalamu alaikum to all the Muslims watching this, and greetings to all the non-Muslims watching this. In many of my videos I've talked about rational thinking, and that we need to apply rational thinking to come to conclusions about truth, and to actually come to a serious understanding of the reality. But you see, people are very confused as to what is rational thinking. How do you define it? It's a very ambiguous term, rational thinking. The thing is that rational thinking is not like logic. Logic involves the construction of premises where A leads to B, leads to C, and ends up with D. But the premises might not always be accurate, and they might not always apply to that particular reality. So, for example, if I say ice is produced by refrigerators, and ice is falling down from the sky, therefore there must be refrigerators in the sky to produce the ice. It's absurd, but it's logical. There follows a logic to this. And logic is based on assumptions and premises which are based on assumptions. But with rational thinking, you don't make assumptions about the reality that you're looking at. With rational thinking, you let the reality dictate the thought. So you observe the reality, you sense the reality that you see around you, and from that reality you make deductions which that reality alludes to. So, for example, take my friend Osama bin Snowman. He didn't make himself. You know, if you want to look at this person, he didn't make himself this effigy, this snowman. So the question is, what is the origination of this snowman? Who made it, or what was it made by? How was it made? You know, was it always existent? Did it always exist? The reality, if you look at the snowman, is the snowman has a certain size, shape, color, and dimension. And because it has a certain size, shape, color, and dimension, we know that it exists in these limits, it's in these parameters of its existence. So because it exists in this parameters of existence, it couldn't decide its own existence. It didn't decide when it was started, to what size or shape it intrinsically is. It's only at this particular size, particular shape, this particular point in this particular point in time, because it was defined by something else. Regardless of whether what defined it is a natural process or what defined it was a human process, we know by looking at the snowman that the snowman could not make itself. And of course nothing can make itself, because it has to pre-exist during its non-existence to make itself. So it can't be that. Secondly, maybe it has always existed. Perhaps it's eternally been there. Maybe so. But if that is the case, then why is it that particular size, shape, and dimension? Why wasn't it eternally existent in twice the size it is now, or half the size it is now, or in a different color, or a different shape? The reality is that the answer to the question as to why it has its particular size, shape, and color was because something else defined it, something else established it. Whether I showed you an example of a snowman, which we know is made by human beings, or I showed you an example of a rock, or an example of a planet, or an example of a galaxy. All these things were created and originated by other things. And when we look at the collective whole, when we look at the whole universe as a collective whole, we see that the whole universe has limits, has sizes, shapes, dimensions. It has components which interact with each other according to laws. And because of this, we can also deduce rationally that the universe itself also had a cause, just as this snowman also had a cause. This is rational thinking, and it is not logical thinking. It's not making assumptions, and it's not belief just based on what is written in a theological book. It is rational thought, letting the reality itself define and dictate the reality which we do not see, that which is the cause to the effect that we are observing. I hope this has made clear to you more about what is rational thinking. But rational thinking, in a nutshell, involves not making any assumptions about a subject you're looking at, a phenomenon you're looking at. not making inductive reasoning or deductive reasoning, where you take a particular rule and apply it generally, or you take a general rule and apply it particularly. Rather, rational thinking makes no assumptions and looks at an object as it is, analyzes it, senses it, and deduces the many possibilities behind this object, why it came to being, and the deduction of things that we cannot see, which were intrinsically involved in the existence of the object that we are observing. And this is rational thinking. I invite everyone, both Muslim, Christian, atheist, and everyone, to partake in rational thinking, to come to the truth of the reality. Jazakallah khair for listening. Assalamu alaikum to all the Muslims watching this, and greetings and thanks to all non-Muslims watching this.